All right, an experiment was done. Which of the following hypotheses best accounts for the findings? So I explained the paradox probably. An experiment was done in which human subjects recognize a pattern within a matrix of abstract designs and then select another design that completes that pattern. Okay, so you recognize a pattern within a matrix of abstract designs and then select another design that completes that pattern. Okay. The result of the experiment was surprising. The word explains the surprise. I guess that's explain the paradox. The lowest expenditure of energy in neurons in the brain. So the folks who used up the least amount of mental energy, I think that's how you reword that. Folks who have used up the least amount. So it's almost folks who are, doing algebra in GMAT was found in was found who performed the most successful in those experiments. So folks who essentially were not thinking deeply about the problem or were not thinking deeply somehow performed the best. I mean, this can be also reworded like a GMAT experiment was done with human subjects wrote the GMAT. The result of the low people who essentially did algebra the most were folks who performed the best. So analogy of question. Experiment with students doing the GMAT. Students who did more algebra than than deep thinking performed better on the GMAT, which is surprising. Surprising. Explained. I think that's what, if I was to create an analogy of the question, if I was to create an analogy, this would be it. So how do I explain this? The neurons of the brain react less when the subject is trying to recognize patterns than when the subject is doing other kinds of reasoning. I don't think this explains why some people are being able to recognize. So, okay, the neurons react less when the subject is trying to recognize patterns, other reasoning. But so within the folks who are actually doing the recognizing the patterns, why are we seeing we're not comparing people who recognize patterns versus people who don't recognize patterns. We're comparing people who recognize patterns versus people who recognize patterns. Why are some people using less energy and some people using more? And the people who are using less energy, why are they more successful? That's the question. So, wrong comparison. Those who performed best in the experiment experienced more satisfaction working with extract than those who perform less well. This could help because if I'm satisfied with working, if I'm genuinely more comfortable or satisfied working with abstract patterns than someone who's not working with abstract patterns, who's never worked with abstract patterns, I by definition use up less energy because I'm having fun. Maybe I'm other parts of my brain are happy, thereby covering up the no, but the amount of mental energy is still the same. Yeah, I'll keep this for now, but I'm not sure. People who are better at abstract have more energy efficient neural connections. That can't be right. Energy efficient neural connections? I don't even know what that means, but the energy of the subject's brain increases when a design that completes finish is determined. This doesn't help explain it though. Why are people who are recognizing patterns, why are some people using less and some people are using more? The task of completing a given design is more capable performed by athletes, is lower than the rest. The task of completing a given design. Okay, so are you saying that these people are athletes? These subjects were athletes? Is that what you're saying? I think it makes sense. The task of completing is more capably performed whose energy expenditure is lower than, I think E. I think it's between B and E. I don't. People who are better at have more energy efficient. Not sure what it means. Have more energy efficient neural connections. Those who perform. I mean, this seems like almost as if it's a genetic issue. Like C seems to be suggesting it's a genetic. Like somehow you're born with more energy efficient neural connections. Those who perform best in the experiment experience more satisfaction in working with. I think it's B. It's B or E. I think it's E. I'll go with E. Thank you.